Um, Also, Pokemon has a lot of information that came out today. We had a announcement of the release date for Pokemon ZA for October. Let me double check it again. I just want to make sure that I don't get it wrong. It was October. Where is it? October 16th of this year. And I said October or November. So I knew it. I knew it was going to be one of those days. Or one of those months, excuse me. And then we also have a Pokemon Presents on July 22nd at 9 a.m. Now, I don't know if I'll be live at 9 a.m., but I'll definitely react to that Pokemon Presents. Also, a fact that we just found out, or I found out when I went to the Pokemon website of Pokemon ZA, and let me see if I can let me bring it up here. Give me a second here. Let me bring it up here. That very much surprises me. Let me get this settled, and then we'll move over to here. And I believe screen. There we go. Now, what this says right here, this is interesting. It says, if you own a Nintendo Switch title, Pokemon Legends ZA, you can upgrade it to the Nintendo Switch 2 edition by purchasing an upgrade pack. That's usual. I'm not surprised that, so if you buy the Switch version of it, you can upgrade it when you put it in the Switch 2 to make it have the Switch 2 digital or physical version of the software. The Nintendo Switch 2 edition. Now this part is interesting. It says if the Nintendo Switch 2 edition will also be playable on the Nintendo Switch, which means, at least from what I understand, that what that's saying is Giraffary. What that is saying is if you buy the Nintendo Switch version of the game, digital or physical, you can play it on the Switch, the original Switch. I don't think that's ever been done before, ever, in PlayStation, Xbox, where you buy a game from a system that's the newer system, and you can put it in the older system and it works. I don't think that's ever been happen. However, as you read on, it says when playing the Nintendo Switch edition on the Nintendo Switch, the content will be the same as that of the Nintendo Switch software. So you won't get the improved graphics, you won't get the the better mechanics and stuff like that on the Switch version. But you can put the Switch 2 game in the Nintendo Switch and it'll work. Personally, that is a double-edged sword. I think that I would buy the Switch 2 version, because if I buy the Nintendo Switch in the future, that makes more sense. What's the point of buying the Switch version and then I have to pay extra to get the upgrade pack? Might as well just buy the Switch 2 version and play that on the Switch. I mean, that's something that you could do. At the same time, that is freaking crazy that they're saying that additional content and utilities of specs of the Nintendo Switch will not be included. So, like I said, if you play it on the Switch, you will not get better graphics and all that. That is a double-edged sword. That hurts. But at the same time, I think it's better off that you buy the Switch 2 version, because you can still play it on the old Switch. Like, what's the point of buying the Switch version? Then you're just paying more. You might as well just bite the bullet and buy the Switch 2 version and play that on the Switch if you can't afford the Switch 2 just yet. Now, I don't know if this will go for a lot of other games. All I know is for this game specifically, that's what they're doing for this game specifically. That does not mean that every Nintendo Switch 2 game is going to be playable on the Nintendo Switch. I just want to make sure that people understand that. This is only exclusively for this game specifically as of right now. That you can buy the Switch 2 version of the game and play it on the original Nintendo Switch. The problem is you won't get the graphical improvements and all that stuff. But the thing is to me, is if you get a Nintendo Switch 2 later on, you will be able to play it on the Nintendo Switch 2 with the graphical improvements and everything, and you won't have to pay an extra dime because you already paid for it when you bought the game itself. At least that's from my understanding. If this is true. If they don't take this back, that's crazy. I will say, like I said, this is a first time ever. I don't think this has ever happened in any system of any company of other than PC games, because PCs, you can play games on PCs like whatever, but older versions and stuff like that. So that's different. I'm talking about like PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, Sega even. You were never able to play a game that was from a future system and bring it to the back. Now, actually, that is not true. The Nintendo DS, but it wasn't like a no. I'm sorry. No. I'm wrong. No. What I'm saying is a newer game brought back to the older system and playing it on the older system. I don't think that's ever been done before. Now, is that a good thing? Graphically, it's not going to be that great, so I don't know if it's worth it to be like playing it on the old system as your first experience, because it's not as good graphically and you're not experiencing the game the way it should be experienced. But knowing that you can play it on the previous system and wait a little while before you get the new system, that would be interesting. That's something. I'm definitely thinking about getting the Switch 2 version just because of this feature. Just because of this feature right here. That's the reason. But anyway, I just wanted to make sure I got that because I put that in my Discord as well. I had a conversation with some people. I put it in other Discords as well to see if people had conversations about that. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out of there just to make sure that people understood that before we get into the game